Hello everybody, back for a special lesson. We've got Fur Elise today, a very popular classic song by Beethoven. So here we go, we're just going to get started here. From what I understand, this piece was written for Elise, which was somebody Beethoven was infatuated with. I don't know the whole story behind it. I don't think anybody does unless you lived in that time period and knew them, but apparently that's the way the story goes. So anyway, right on to the lesson. I don't want to spend too much time talking. We've got some familiar things here. I just want to note that I did not write this version of the song. You can find this version for free. I'll post a link to it, and of course if I forget, please remind me, and then I'll post it, because sometimes it's just, sometimes I'll overlook it. But anyway, let's get started. So we've got 3/4 time signature, 3 beats per measure. What does the bottom number mean? Do you remember? Well, hopefully you remember that it gets, it tells you what note gets 1 beat. So the quarter note gets 1 beat if it ends in a 4. If it ends in an 8, the 8th note gets 1 beat. So it's a little different. But here we just have this pretty standard 3/4. If you notice, our first measure is incomplete. And why is that? As far as beats, well, if you look, we've only have 2 8th notes. So that only equals 1 beat. So we're supposed to have 3. Most times, and I think I've brought this up before, but if you haven't seen one of my previous lessons, or at least the lesson I'm talking about, most times, but not all the time, the missing beats are at the end of the song and the song repeats. I don't think this is the case for this song. Let me see. I do see a repeat sign though. Let's check. Yeah, so if you see, not all the way at the end of the song, but if you take a look where it says number 1, there, right on, let me check real quick. On the 3rd line of the song, I wanted to check that. So on the 3rd line of the song, if you see that little bracket with the number 1, which is called the first ending, if you notice there, how many beats do we have in that measure? 1, 2... We actually have 3 beats in that measure. So the missing beats aren't necessarily made up in this one, but I'll show you another song where they are made up. So if you have an incomplete measure in the beginning, most of the time, like maybe 80% of the time, the missing beats are at the end of the song. And what happens is when you repeat the song, you go from, and actually the last measure of the song sometimes is incomplete. So say we only have 1 beat in the beginning in that incomplete measure. Well, the incomplete measure at the end will have the missing 2 beats to make 3 beats. So when you repeat, you're actually playing that complete measure. But it's not necessarily the case in this song. Alright, so let's get our hand in position. Starting out with the right hand, you've got your pinky on E. Just a second. So you got your pinky on E, and then the second note is D sharp, which is right below, it's a half step below E. So the first 2 notes. And then the first complete measure, you've got E, D sharp, E. And then you got B with 2, D with 4, C with 3, and A with 1. And then continue with the right hand. If you notice, there's a circled 1 there. Whenever you see a circle with a number on it, at least for this song, and a lot of the ones from this website, it means you're going to have to shift position. So that now they want finger 1 on C, middle C. So you got C with 1, and I would play E with 2, A with 4, and B with 5. And then moving on, they want you to kind of change again, but your hand's already kind of in position here. You've got E with 1, G sharp with 3, and B with 5. Actually, I would play B with 4, because if you look at the next line, you have to hit C, and that would give you enough fingers. So again, the right hand is going to be played like this. So just try that a few times, that beginning opening, and try to master that first. Once you feel comfortable with that, move on. Like so. And you just play through that a couple times. Now let's count it out loud. If you notice, if you remember, we have that first measure which is incomplete. So how are you going to count that one? Well, I'll tell you. Remember that when we're using eighth notes, we need to break up the beats into and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. That incomplete measure there, those beats are going to actually be the last beats of that measure. So it's going to go 3 and then the first measure it's going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, so once again it's 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, sorry I missed that little bit there. So that's the right hand, pretty easy, not too bad. Now when you put them hands together it's going to be a little difficult, as it always is. So you've got A, E, A with the left hand with 5, 2, 1, so A, E, A. And then you're going to switch hand positions, which is indicated by that circled number there. You've got E, G sharp, B with 5, 3, 1. And that's it. That's all the left hand does there. So just play that a few times. So counting this out, obviously the first incomplete measure and the first complete measure have nothing. So it's going to go 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So that's all there is to it. Let's try to put it hands together. Obviously when you start hands together, you want to go slow. You may need to go way slower than I do. That's the beginning of the next line. So just do that a couple times. Now let's try the second line. Now here with the right hand you've just got C with finger 5, and then you've got E with 1, and then you're going to jump up to hit octave E above with 5. So far it's been C with 5, E with 1, E with 5, and then you kind of start the song over again where you go E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E, and then you got B with 2, D with 4, C with 3, and A with 1. So once again the beginning of that line is going to go. And just like before, you got C, E, A, B with 1, 2, 4, 5. And then here it changes a little bit where you got E with 1, C with 5, B with 4, and A with 3. So that ending is going to be, well actually that goes into the next measure, or next line, but it goes E, C, B, and then on the next line you're going to hit that A with 3. So here's how the whole right hand's going to go. I'm going to count out loud. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2. I'd actually hit that, I'd switch to hit that 1 with A, just so that it sets you up to be able to hit E with 5. And there you're going to repeat, if you notice it has a 1 over it, this last measure here of, not the last measure, but of the third line again, where we were talking before with that 1 in the bracket there. What you're going to do there is you're going to repeat. You're going to repeat back to where the repeat sign began, which is the first complete measure there. So you'd repeat to the first line, second measure, or the first complete measure rather. And then you're going to play it all again, except the second time when you play through it, you're going to skip the number 1 and move to the 2, which is called the second ending. So what you do is, so to recap, you play through the whole thing, not the whole thing, but you play up to where the repeat sign is, past the number 1, and then you repeat back to where the repeat sign started, which is the beginning of the first measure. and you play all the way through, almost to where, well, basically where we played before, except on the second playthrough, you're going to skip number 1 and begin at number 2. You don't want to play number 1 and number 2, because it'll sound weird. Let's do the left hand of the second line. Alright, so once again, you have A, E, A with 5, 2, 1. And then you have a measure of rest. You got 5, 2, 1 again with A, E, A. And then you got E, G sharp, B. So pretty simple. It goes. And that's it. Of course, when you put it hands together, you want to be extra careful. What is it going to do? Here we go. And then you're going to repeat to the first line. And that brings us to the third line. So on the third line, remember, so you do this first ending the first time, and then when you repeat all the way through, you skip to the second one. So we're going to just start at the second measure there, where you have A. I'm just going over the right hand here. Let me think about this. I'd hit that A with 1, just because that gives you plenty of fingers to continue. So you've got A with 1. We're talking about the second measure here, and then you got B with 2, C with 3, D with 4, and E with 5. Then you're going to jump down just a little bit to hit G with 1. Then you're going to jump up to hit F with 5, E with 4, and then D with 3. You jump down again to hit F with 1, E with 5, D with 4. So once again, starting from that second measure, or the second ending, you've got A with 1, then you got B, C, D, E, G, F, E, D, F, E, D. Now I'm going to count it out loud. I'm starting from the second measure, remember. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. So that's how that line is going to go. Starting the second measure with the left hand, you've got A, E, A. Should be used to that one by now. That happens a lot. But now it changes a little bit. You're just going to move up to hit C, G, C. So before we had A, E, A, you move all your fingers up to hit C, G, C with 5, 2, 1 again. And then you move down just 1 to hit, well, actually not quite. It changes a little bit. You got B, G, B with 5, 2, 1. So once again, you've got A, E, A with 5, 2, 1. You jump up to C, G, C with 5, 2, 1. And then you move down to B, G, B with 5, 2, 1. So let's just start here from the second measure of the third line. Here we go. Of course, you may need to go slower, and you may need to play it a bunch of times to be able to get it. This middle section seems to give my students a little more trouble than most. What is it? Yeah. Let me count out loud. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. And you play that a few times until you really feel comfortable with it. Obviously, if you can't do it, you want to break it down hands separate, or slow it way, way down. Let's try the last line, I think. No, not last line. We got 3 more lines. All right. But the last few lines are pretty easy because they can just kind of repeat what the first lines did. So on this line, you've got C. Just a second. Yeah. C with let me see. Sometimes to figure out the fingering, you want to go back to the last line of the last measure of the previous line and look at what your fingering is there and see where it sets you up. So you got C with 3 here on this last line. You're going to jump down to hit E with 1, D with 5, C with 4, and then B with 3, and then you've got E, E with 1, 1, and then you got E, E, octave E, and then the same one you started with. So you've got E, 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 lots of E's, and then more E's. You jump up to hit E again, and then you're going to switch. Keep in mind, take a look at the third measure there, where the first E's hit with 5, but the second one's hit with 1, and you do that so you can hit the E above it with 5. So let me show you. So it goes, so we're starting from, let's just start from the second measure of that last line of the first page. So you've got B, you've got E, 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 and then you've got E, and you want to switch, E, E, E. So it goes, and then you jump back down to hit D sharp, and then you kind of just start the song over again. Actually, let me make sure I had enough of those. Yeah, there you go. You want to make sure you're counting and having the correct amount of these. A lot of students like to add in too many or too little of those. So let's take a look at our left hand. Pretty easy. You got A, E, A, and then you just jump down to hit E down here, 5, then E with 1. So once again it goes A, E, A, E, E, and that about does it. So when you put your hands together with this last line, be careful, obviously. That part may take you some time. And I wasn't paying attention, so I gotta make sure I have enough of these. Let me make sure. So there you go. I'm counting out loud. It'll be like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1, and then it goes and 2 and 3 and 1. All right, let's go to. Wait, it's not and 3 and 1. Yeah, it is. Sorry about that. All right, so going to the next line, the first line of the second page, you kind of just have what you had in the beginning, really. Yeah, this is almost exactly what you have in the first 2 lines of the song. So go back to those if you need to know how to do this. Now here's where it changes. The very end, the next to last measure, what we call the second half of beat 2. So the and of 2, we call it. So you got D with 1, and then C with 5, B with 4, and then you jump down and hit C and A. So it does change there a little bit at the end. So here's the whole last line. With just the right hand. And this is where it changes. And you also, it says RIT there. That means to slow it down. Or gradually slow down until the end. So here's the left hand of the last 2 lines. You got A, E, A. Obviously the first measure you don't have anything because you have a whole rest. And then you have E, G sharp, B. And you go back down to A, E, A. And then you have whole rest. You got A, E, A. E, G sharp, B. And you got A with 5. So there you go. You got, here's the whole last 2 lines. Let me count it loud. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2. And this is where it changes, remember, and 3 and 1, 2. Rest. So there you go. There's Fur Elise, the whole thing. This is kind of an easier version, although the real version, the only really difference between this and quote-unquote the real version, the really professional version, is that the professional version has more to it, really. Like not necessarily changes to what we played here, but it has more sections that are actually quite a bit harder and quite a bit more advanced. So it'll be a while before we do this. But this is the part of the song everybody remembers and everybody likes. So we'll go with that for today. So let me play the whole thing for you real quick. So I'm not going to be able to scroll while I play because I can't fit the whole thing on here today because it's a little bit of a longer song. So here's just the first page. And just keep note that I'm going to keep playing past the first page. But I'm going to do the first and second ending thing I was talking about earlier. Or to slow down there at the end. So that was a bit slow. Once you feel more comfortable with it, you can go a little faster. One thing I want to mention is I'm using pedal a little bit. If you want the sound better, use the pedal with this one. I haven't done a lesson on the pedal yet, but most keyboards come with, well, some of them come with 3 pedals, but a lot of electronic keyboards come with 1 pedal, and that's usually the sustain pedal. And what that does is when you hit a note and you have the pedal held down, it holds the note. So it kind of blends the notes together, giving it a fuller sound. But you don't want to overdo it because it will blend the sounds together and it will sound really bad if you have it held down the whole song. So what you want to do is every measure or so, you just want to pop that pedal up real quick and push it back down. And that will kind of give you that fuller sound without having it blend together too much. And it takes some practice, and I will do a video on it eventually. So here we go. Here it is a little faster and with some pedal working. You know what I did? I forgot to do the first ending and second ending thing. It kind of tripped me up. So 1 second, let me try again. So there you go. There is what it's going to sound like. That's what it's going to sound like, sorry, once you kind of master it, once you feel a little more comfortable with it. But obviously it's going to be slow going at first. It'll take a couple weeks to get this one, to be honest with you, especially if you're at a kind of a beginner's level, maybe early intermediate. It might take you a little bit longer. Obviously, if you're advanced, you can probably pick this up in 2 minutes. But anyway, thanks for watching. As always, remember to leave some comments if you want, like the video, subscribe, whatever you like to do. And of course, I'll see you for the next lesson. So thank you very much, and I'll see you later. Thanks. Hey there, did you like the video? Did you learn something? Well, click that subscribe button below to get regular updates of videos and announcements from my YouTube channel. Also, remember to click that like button if you liked the video. Also, you can follow me on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and more. I'll leave the links to those in the description below. Also, spread the love and share these videos with your friends. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you for the next lesson. Thank you.